Hi, and good day, everyone. It's time to learn some new stuff. But before anything else, let me introduce first myself. My name is Jetromus Bardillon. You can call me Jet for short, and my topic is about human behavior in relation to technology and environment. Now, this is a very broad topic that I think 15 minutes may not be enough, but I have chosen some topics that I think everyone would find it interesting. By the end of this presentation, we should learn to define what technology is, what are its benefits, how does it affect human behavior, its impact on the environment, and what are the behavioral solutions that people should do to mitigate climate change. So let's start. What is technology? According to Oxford Languages, technology is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in the industry. Machinery and equipment developed from application of scientific knowledge and the branch of knowledge dealing with engineering or applied sciences. Basically, any application of scientific knowledge to a practical aims to human life and somewhat like a manipulation of the environment to make our lives easier and better. So just a couple of examples, for communications, we have our smartphones, telephones, internet, telepresence and stuff. Transportation, we have cars, planes, trains, motorbikes. For entertainment, we have our TVs, radios, and many more. Now let's discuss its benefits. Of course, number one, ease access to information. The information around the world has been made available through the internet. Number two, it saves time. Easier day-to-day operations due to the machines, and of course, conversion of manual operations to digital. Number three, ease of mobility. From traveling one point to another with the use of cars, bikes, planes, trains, and many more. Number four, better communication means. It has simply evolved throughout the generation from snail mail to beepers to telephones. Now we have video calls, emails, teleconferencing, and with this pandemic, who would have known that we could have our classes at home? Fifth is cost efficiency. Of course, because of due to operational expenses are way cheaper due to machines. And better learning technique. With the availability of the resources online, we no longer need to go to a library just to get that information or to travel far just to get information. Everything is given already online. We all know that technology has made our lives even better, but not all are good. Now, how does the technology affect our human behavior? Now, before we start, I have to ask you, do you feel unhappy when you upload a photo on Facebook, maybe on Instagram or Twitter, and no one is liking it? Do you feel anxious when you leave your phone at home? Or like you have been scrolling on your news feed for a couple of hours already without even noticing that you have already wasted a couple of hours. So let us discuss some of the effects of the technology to human behavior. First, digital wall. People are no longer interfacing with other people. Instead, they rely primarily on technology for knowledge. Maybe some completely. What does it mean? We rely too much from Google for information. Suddenly, we use those information as a replacement for doctor's checkup, legal advices, and many more. We completely rely on those information that we get from Google. Without human interaction, we stagnate our social skills, which removes the open-ended conversations and creative moments. Second, we are less patient. We want to know the answers right away. Like, why should I wait around if I can get those answers in the internet, right? It gives us unrealistic expectations of success. For example, we tend to compare ourselves to the achievements of others. because my friend has posted this, that he is in Japan, he or she is in Japan, he or she is in United States. Social media has become a new standard nowadays, and we tend to make shortcuts, like we tend to copy the work of others because it is available online. Next, we can't focus. You know what, just a trivia. Based on survey, an average person in the Philippines spend around 5 hours per day on mobile devices alone. Wow. It shortens our attention span due to social media, Netflix, YouTube, HBO Go, many more. Anyone who has a smartphone knows that it can be difficult to ignore notifications even at work, even I myself. Next is procrastination. Of course, due to technological advancements, we end up procrastinating more than ever because tasks and activities that we used to do manually are now being automated, or at least done in a shorter amount of time with less effort. So the connotation that bahala na lang or mamaya na lang or bukas na lang quote is being used every day. Technology's overstimulation has led us to underutilize our cognitive abilities as well. So those are just some of the effects. There are so many effects of the technology in human behavior, but I've just chosen those because those are the most common. Aside of these effects to human behavior, technology has contributed a lot of negative impacts to our environment as well, such as air pollution. Air pollutions from car emissions, factory wastes and exhausts, and many more. Depletion of natural resources like mining, sand and gravel extraction, deforestation, and many more. And of course, our number one problem, e-waste, which comes from our computers, iPads, devices, and many more. Now, how do we prevent these phenomena? There are so many ways to prevent this and protect our environment. We can even take advantage of the technology in protecting Mother Earth. And here are some of the human behavioral solutions for climate mitigation. Let's start with the food sector. First is to reduce food waste. Minimizing food loss and wastage throughout the food supply chain from the harvest to consumption, because global emissions from the food waste are nearly equivalent from those global transport. Imagine that. Even I myself, I don't even know that. Food waste contributes to global emissions. Second is to plant rich diets type of foods. Individuals consuming more fruits, veggies, vegetables, grains, and legumes instead of animal protein and products, while also being mindful of local food sourcing and nutrition. Animal proteins are significant drivers of climate change, with emissions from livestock sector is estimated at 15% of anthropogenic greenhouse emissions. And lastly is composting. Converting biodegradable waste such as food scraps, plant materials into a useful soil fertilizer instead of sending it to a landfill. Next one is on the agriculture and land management sector. Tree intercropping, deliberately planting trees in the same as annual crops. This process increases the carbon content of the soil while improving productivity of the land. Next one is farm land restoration. Restoring degraded and abandoned farmland to grow crops or native vegetations, because soils that are left to erode can be a source of emissions, whereas converting abandoned land back into productive ones can turn them into carbon sinks. Next is rice intensification and improved rice cultivation. So we just need to adopt the low methane rice productions for small or large operations through a series of innovative techniques such as altering watering and planting patterns, because these patterns will reduce flooding conditions and many more. Next is on the transportation sector. I think this section is more of a self-explanatory. Just to save time, I'll not dig into to all of the examples, because I think this is very self-explanatory. First is electric vehicles. Of course, driving battery and plug-in vehicles instead of conventional vehicles will save our nature due to less carbon emissions. And next is ride sharing or carpooling. Instead of riding cars individually, that could also avoid traffic since lesser cars are on the road, and of course lesser emissions as well. Next, mass transit or commuting instead of riding on your own vehicles. If it's easy for us to commute, why not? And then last is walking or cycling. The walking and cycling does not just help our environment, it also help our health as well. The last one is energy and material sector. Rooftop solar. The rooftop solar conserves energy and reduce greenhouse emissions. Next one is solar water. Solar water, which uses solar water heaters for heating our waters. Next is LED lighting, which conserves energy due to efficient light emitting diodes. And of course, we can simply have it by saving water, just to conserve our water resources. So those are the things that we can do in order for us to save our Mother Earth. Actually, there are so many things that we can do. Those are just some of the examples that we can do, and we can do even more to save our environment. To end this presentation, let us not forget that solving the global climate change crisis is going to rely on, in one way or another, changing human behavior and by maximizing the availability of the technology that we have right now. Once again, my name is Jet, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it.